They force another turnover. Clark, the quick pass, whips it right to Cunningham. 500 career assists for Caitlin Clark, the fastest to do it.
Thursday night at the Chase Center in San Francisco. The stage was set for a massive showdown. Oceania came into this game riding a hot 3-game winning streak. They looked exactly like the dangerous team everyone warned us about before the season started. They were sitting at a strong 4-2. Clark was healthy. Boston was healthy. Mitchell was totally locked in. The Fever had finally found their groove. They were playing their absolute best basketball of this young season. But they were walking straight into their biggest nightmare. Golden State. The Valkyries were, without a doubt, the best team in the WNBA right now. Through 6 games, they led the whole league in net rating. They had a top 3 offense and a top 2 defense at the exact same time. They made the fewest mistakes. They hit the most threes. And they had not lost back-to-back games all year long. Chase Center was packed to the rafters. Sold out. Every single fan in that building was holding their breath for this exact rematch. Because just 6 days ago, Indiana shocked them and won 90-82. And one player had a massive point to prove. Veronica Burton. She was the best player for the Valkyries in that first game. She dropped 25 points and blocked 5 shots. She was the only reason Golden State stayed alive in that first matchup. Now, she wanted revenge. It was Burton against Clark. Golden State against Indiana. The tension in the arena was thick enough to cut with a knife. You could feel the suspense in the air before the ball was even tipped. Let's get right into the madness. The whistle blew, and Indiana struck first. But that joy did not last long. Golden State snatched control of the game almost instantly. And Veronica Burton? She was an absolute nightmare from the very first second. She lived at the free throw line. She sliced right into the paint. And she sent a loud, clear message to Caitlin Clark. Burton blocked Clark not once, but twice in the first quarter alone. First, she swatted a driving layup out of the air. Then she rejected a cutting layup. The tone was completely set right there on the floor. This was not going to be a simple game of hoops. This was going to be a rough, physical, and brutal 40-minute war. And Burton was not just playing defense. She was cooking on the offensive end too. She knocked down free throws. She finished a running layup off a beautiful pass. Then she stepped back and buried a deep 3-pointer to push the Valkyries' lead up to 14-7. The crowd was going absolutely wild. Golden State was flying all over the court. They hit another 3 and a quick layup right in the closing minutes of the quarter. By the time the horn sounded, the Valkyries were sitting on a comfortable 21-14 lead. Indiana was trying. They competed hard and threw some heavy punches. But Golden State was just too sharp. They made the big plays exactly when it mattered most. The Fever looked a little stunned. The Valkyries looked unstoppable. If Indiana wanted to survive this game, they had to wake up fast. The clock was ticking, and the pressure was rising. Would they fight back, or would Golden State run away with it? The second quarter started, and suddenly, everything changed. Caitlin Clark decided it was time to take over. She drove hard to the hoop, drew fouls, and hit her free throws. Just like that, Indiana was awake. Cunningham drained a huge 3-pointer. Then, Clark picked a pocket, stole the ball, and passed it to Johnson for an easy layup. Next, Clark found Cunningham again for another lightning-fast score. The lead was chopped down to just 5 points. Indiana went on a blazing 12-2 run in the blink of an eye. The whole mood in the arena flipped upside down. But right in the middle of that crazy run, something magical happened. Clark caught the ball on the right wing. She paused. She read the defense like a book. Then, she fired an absolute rocket of a pass to Cunningham on the fast break for an easy lay-in. With that one single pass, history was made. Caitlin Clark reached 500 career WNBA assists. She became the fastest player in the history of the league to hit 1,000 career points and 500 assists. She did it in just 59 games. Legends like Sue Bird took 82 games. Sabrina Ionescu took 84. Dawn Staley took 101. Clark totally crushed the record. But she did not even celebrate. She barely nodded for 2 seconds and went right back to work. and her hard work paid off. Indiana kept attacking. Cunningham scored again. Timpson scored. Mitchell hit a layup to tie the game. Then, right before the buzzer, Mitchell floated a shot in to give Indiana a shocking 44-42 lead at halftime. From down 7 to up 2. A massive, game-changing swing. If you love basketball, the third quarter was a pure masterpiece. It was easily the best basketball either of these teams had played all season long. It was a heavyweight boxing match. Both teams went on crazy scoring runs. Both teams made plays that made your jaw drop. The lead changed hands 7 times in just 10 minutes. You literally could not look away. Boston kicked things off for Indiana with a slick turnaround jumper. But Burton answered right back with a strong driving layup to tie it up. Hull nailed a clutch three-pointer to put Indiana ahead. Guess who answered? Burton again, with a tough layup and a free throw. Tied again. Every time Indiana threw a punch, Golden State punched right back. Mitchell buried a deep 3. Zandalicini answered with her own deep 3. Back and forth. Golden State grabbed a tight 57-54 lead. But Clark would not let them keep it. She hit free throws to cut the gap. Then Boston powered her way to the line and gave Indiana the lead back. The chemistry between Clark and Boston was off the charts. They were totally locked in. Boston hit a tough jumper. Then Johnson nailed a huge three-pointer to push Indiana's lead up to 65-60. It felt like the Fever were finally taking full control of the game. But Golden State refused to die. With just 25 seconds left in the quarter, they drilled a deep three-pointer. They cut the lead to 67-65 right as the buzzer sounded. The fourth quarter was coming, and the tension was at an absolute boiling point. The final quarter began, and the stress was incredibly real. Burton tied the game instantly with a quick floater. Clark answered by setting up Timpson for a layup. But Burton was on a serious mission. She assisted on a layup, then scored one herself. Golden State was back on top, 71-69. Indiana had to call a timeout. They were panicking. They just could not stop Veronica Burton. She was taking over the whole game. Out of the timeout, things got worse for Indiana. Burton blocked a shot. Then Clark turned the ball over. Clark tried to drive again, and Burton blocked her again. Her 5th block of the night. Golden State pushed their lead to 6. Time was running out fast. Indiana fought back hard. Boston hit a 3. Johnson hit a 3. Mitchell drove in for a tough layup. They kept getting so close, but the Valkyries kept pushing them away. Then, with under 4 minutes left, Clark hit the shot of the night. A massive three-pointer to make it a 1-point game. Soon after, Boston grabbed a huge rebound and hit a jumper. Indiana had the lead, 82-81. For one crazy second, it felt like Indiana was actually going to win. But the final minute was a disaster. Clark turned the ball over. Then she stepped out of bounds. 2 empty trips when Indiana desperately needed points. Golden State took the lead back. With 3 seconds left, Indiana had one last chance. Down by 2 points. Clark fired a turnaround jumper to win the game. The crowd held its breath. The ball hit the rim and bounced away. Golden State survived, 90-88. Clark made amazing history, but the tough loss stings.